first thing we're going to work on is the detail in our eye and finish up our face. So the eye is going to be our teal color. So we're going to grab some of that teal color, just pure teal, using our round brush, and we're just going to fill in our eye. Just like that. And that really pops with this orange, yellow, red color palette that we have here. And now while we wait for that to dry before we can work on all of the details in the eye, we're going to go through and highlight our body using white. So we're just going to be using our pure white and our round brush. And we're going to go around and highlight a few key areas. So it's like the very tippy top of the head, and just like little eyebrows, just add those in, and even like a little stroke below the eye. And in some of our areas where we did yellow, and even some areas where we didn't, we're going to go in with just a little strike of white. Just like that. Just a little doop, bloop, like a little dab. Just to kind of give the reflection on the body, kind of like give that texture of glossiness and give it a little bit more pop and detail. And of course, we want to make sure that our arm down here is highlighted. It's one of the only few places we're going to do a solid line. And then whenever you do the line, you're going to pull from that line down into whatever the next texture little node is and add some more of that white texture that we just added up in the upper portion. And this is all just for a little bit of highlight. This is going to be what really makes him stand out from the back of the canvas. And we're also going to outline just the back of the head right here to differentiate it from your arm, and then going to add in some of the white highlights inside. And again right here, and again back down here, you're going to do just a little bit of white. See how it's not just like one hard line? It's kind of like little tick marks going around the body. It's because if you just totally outline your octopus, it's not going to look nearly as real as if you took the time to just do some specific outlining on key parts that needed to really be defined, and then use these little dabs for the texture and the rest of the body. So really the only time we're using these white lines is when we're wanting to define the body away from the body. Such as right here with the arm, we're wanting to define this front arm away from the back arm. Let me grab some, take off the white. So you see I'm using very little white, like teeny, teeny, tiny amounts of white. And if you have too much white, you're going to kind of throw off your octopus's highlighting and low lighting that we've been working on this whole time. So if you did highlights everywhere, then it's like everything is highlighted and then it just doesn't make sense. So we're not going to highlight any of these back arms. We are going to highlight just a little bit on this arm right here. Just a tiny bit. And we will be making this arm define away from that back arm just a little bit more, but in just a moment, I'll show you how. And we're going to come up here, obviously, and add in a bit more texture and white in these areas. And then after that, you're going to leave those in the dark. You don't need to worry about those guys. You're going to wash your brush off and you're going to grab some more of that yellow-orange mix left over right here. And then you're going to use this to lightly define this line right here that goes along the edge of the body and along the head. You can even add in, if you have too much of a dark space, you can even add just a little bit of orange in there. And again, that's just to pull that arm forward a little bit more. And then as a highlight, I'd also even highlight down here on the bottom with a little bit more orange. Fantastic, guys. You've done so well. We're only going to do one more thing, and that's in the eyes. Should be nice and dry now. And the only thing you need to do this eye would be a little bit of purple, or if you have black in your arsenal, you can also use the black. And if you have black in your tool set, please feel free to use that as well. So just grab your color, and if you wanted to mix it with that red again, and then just go over it and add in a U. And why it's a U is because octopus have a different kind of pupil than animals like a deer or a horse or ourselves. And so their pupil is ovular with little tick marks kind of going up at the sides. And then as soon as you add that in, you're going to grab a little bit of your white on the very end of your brush. And you're going to pick a side. You can do your left or your right side of your eye, but pick the upper corner and put a dot there. And that little dot just gives your octopus so much life. But if you even wanted to add a little bit more, you could do one more dab at the bottom crease right here. Just don't go over your dark portion that you just added in. That is key. Just like that. And now you've had your eye in, and now there's maybe just a couple more things that you can do if you want to just make it a bit more defined in a few areas. You can go in and add more highlights. Even maybe define this ear area or like little gill area a little bit more. And then of course, if you want to highlight and outline your octopus, please feel free. If you have some areas that need to be cleaned up, like right here, it's an excellent time. Now is at the very end to go through and just lightly kind of go over those areas and define them a little bit more. Or like right here where I'm like, oh, I kind of have like this kind of strange kind of texture right there showing through. I'm going to just kind of cover that up just a little bit. And maybe I wanted to define this arm a little bit more from the back, like when it came off the background right here. See how much that just made that pop? It looks really, really good. And then of course, like if you had like a little end over here where you're like, oh, my like tentacle kind of just like fuzzes out, you can just make a little point with some white down there. And the same thing over here. And just like that, guys, you have finished your octopus painting. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed learning how to develop your very own octopus painting. And if you have any questions about the techniques or the process, please feel free to ask us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this lesson, hit that subscribe button and join us every week for new lessons and techniques. And if you want to share your artwork with us, because we would love to see it, please send it to us at Canvas of the Wild with the hashtag of the Wild on Instagram and Facebook for the chance to be featured. Until we see you again, stay safe, stay positive, and keep creating, guys. See you later.